hopes that somebody takes something out of here that will actually cause them to want to pick up this banner also and join us in seeking justice for our people. You know, seeking justice for those that lose their lives out here in the streets that the families seem to can't get. You know, supporting them and bringing them through the pain and the horror of suffering that death in their family, because it is painful. It is weakening. You know, many, I'm sure, fall straight to their knees like I did when they see their child murdered. You know, and I love the way Minister put it, and when he says that, do you think that I would not die for my children? That is the same attitude we need to have for our people in these streets.
That's right.
Whether it be police or whether it be another brother killing.
That's right. Chief. That's right.
And we got to have that passion. We got to feel it, and we got to want to make a change. And the only way that's going to happen is that what you're doing here is basically a teaching. It's bringing information to us, letting us see the problem, and then picking up this banner again to deal with the issues that we're facing. Thank you, young sister, for coming, and of course, Jabari, for keeping your children involved, because they may not be paying attention, but it's going into their conscious mind.
That's right.
Unconsciously, right? When it comes time for them to rise up, they will
on.
rise.
That's right.
They've been taught.
That's right.
We need to bring our children so they can understand what we're dealing with, because it is our children who are dying out here. You know, and so what I want to do is that we talked about, you know, I heard the sister talk about the black on black crime. You know, I couldn't realize today much of that has to do with white supremacy. You know, until we understand the psychological aspect of how it works in our community, we'll never be able to deal with the problem until we understand just how effective it's been as a tool to cause us to kill ourselves, really, for white supremacy. You know, and until we understand that, we'll keep going in this circle. You know, we'll continue in this circle. I do want to share Z, and it's too bad Jack's not here. Z, who's John Two's mother. John Two was Oscar's best friend, who I got to know very well. He was like a nephew to me also. But Z has a picture of one of Oscar's other good friends named Jordan, John Two, and Oscar. All three of them, she was like an auntie to all of them, besides being the mother of John Two, in her pool. All three of them are dead. She has a very special picture of children that she loved, and every single one of them is dead. Oscar, as you know, by the hands of so-called police. John Two, by the hands of somebody who looked just like him.
Maybe.
Jordan, by the hands of someone that looked just like him. So it's not like we are taking police brutality over the issues that happens in our community, because there are those in our community that are dealing specifically with that. And we need to know that it is happening, and it's not like we don't care. We know it's a problem.
That's right.
And then there's those of us that are dealing specifically with this police issue, because we know it is a problem, and our children are dying, and so there's many have taken up the banner to understand that we got to deal with that in a different type of way. You know, and so it's not like one is bigger than the other. They're both issues because it's our children that are dying.
That's right.
Basically, behind one common denominator: white supremacy.
That's right.
And until we understand that, we'll be divided among what's really going on, because whenever this white media put in front of our face, you got this policeman that killed the brother, but what about your own people killing each other?
That's what they've been saying.
There's a straight division. It causes straight confusion, and until we understand that, we'll always get duped by it.
That's right.
You know, we didn't pay attention to the Trayvon until white media put it on television. And when they brought it to all of us, all of a sudden our political leaders, all of a sudden everybody across the country began to feel Trayvon Martin. If it had been done with Oscar, everybody would have felt Oscar. It hadn't been done with Pookie and Ray around the corner, everybody would feel them. This is all by design, and we have to come to understand that this is true and it's real. And we gotta understand some things. So what I want to do is share the definition of white supremacy. So I'm going to read it to you, and then, you know, especially yourself. And I want you to know, young sister, before Rosa Parks, you know who Rosa Parks is, right? Well, before Rosa Parks, it was a young sister, I forget her name, that was 14 years old, that was bold enough to sit at the front of the bus, and she happened to be pregnant.
And she was not getting up.
Right? And she said she wasn't getting up, and she got arrested. Why isn't it that she isn't spoken of like Rosa Parks? Well, those of us that are conscious enough to understand white supremacy, we know why. But there was a sister that was 14 years old that was the first person that said, no, I am not going to the back. And so I'm saying that to say that our leaders are you.
That's
our
right.
leaders are our children. Remember that. And it's good that you're here to hear and to share and to understand that the change is going to come from you. Because if our children are having it tough now,
They children.
what about your children? What about your babies? What their day looks like? And we have to realize that until we're willing to die to bring that change, their lives are going to be horrified. They won't even have a life. They'll be fearing us that look like each other, and they'll be feeling this government that's been perpetrated on us to commit these crimes in our community. And it's going to be very few of us left if it continues at the rate that it's going. Because since January to Trayvon, there has been 29 black men killed by police. Since Trayvon, 16. That's a lot of us dying at a rapid rate all across this country. And it's happening every day. That's not even including what's going on with the black on black issue. I mean, it's horrifying. You know, and but let me read you this definition because I can get off into this and get lost, you know, and get an attitude. I mean, I got an attitude, you know what I'm saying? But I get so emotional that I just take myself into a whole different zone about the psychological warfare that's going on. And I need to share this. You know, I was in the military in the early 70s, and I was with this unit called the 448 Civil Affairs Unit. Basically, we was a psychological warfare unit. So our job was to disseminate false information to the people of whoever we was going to attack. False information to gain our victory. You know, and that's what white supremacy is about, disseminating false information to us
Before they attack.
to continue their supremacy over us. How are they doing that? We don't even know who our ancestors are. You know what I'm saying? White media has a tendency to play what they want you to respond to. And the thing that's happening to Trayvon, we have to be smart, we have to be perceptive, and we have to understand that there's a manipulation tactic that's going on right now in response to that. Like Jack may say, why not Oscar? This is all by design. It was purposely not Oscar.
That's right. The video?
And
No,
until we
sir.
understand that, we can deal with this situation with Trayvon in a much more accurate manner. But white supremacy is the belief, the promotion of the belief that white people are superior to people of other racial backgrounds. The term is sometimes used specifically to describe a political ideology that advocates the social, political, historical, and/or industrial dominance by whites. White supremacy, as with racial supremacism, in general, is rooted in ethnocentrism and a desire for hegemony and power, and it has frequently resulted in violence against non-whites. So the academic use of white supremacy, the term white supremacy is used in academic studies of racial power to denote a system of structural racism which privileged white people over others regardless of the presence or absence of racial hatred. The presence or absence of racial hatred. They don't always have to just call us a nigger.
Okay.
To realize that they hate us.
That's right. It's anyway.
I'm going to talk about things that they do that says the exact same thing. By white supremacy, I do not mean to allude only to self-conscious racism or white supremacist hate groups. I refer instead to a political, economic, and cultural system in which white overwhelmingly controls power and material resources. Conscious and unconscious ideas of white superiority and entitlement are widespread, and relations of white dominance and non-white subordination are daily reenacted across the board across a broad array of institutions and social settings. And there's actually there's more than two effects, but I'm going to talk about two effects of that. One where I believe this black on black killing takes place is the second aspect of white supremacy. It's called internalized racism. Is the acceptance by members of a racially stigmatized people, we'll say black folks or brown folks, right, of negative perceptions about our own abilities and intrinsic worth, right, characterized by low self-esteem and low esteem of others that look like us. This racism can be manifested through embracing whiteness, such as stratification by skin color in non-white communities, self-evaluation such as racial slurs, nicknames, rejections of ancestral culture, etc., and resignation, helplessness, and hopelessness such as dropping out of school, failing to vote, engaging in health risk practices, and we could go on and on and on what's happening in our communities, right? And one of the things my wife and I do, and you know, much love to my wife. She's been in this struggle a long time. But she brings to remembrance that in order for us to get through this, it has to be black love, black family, black life, black unity, which brings black power. And until we get to that, we'll consistently struggle in this misunderstanding of what is happening in our community with our own people that look just like us. Yes. And the other aspect of it is institutionalized racism. And examples are racial profiling by security guards, as in Zimmerman, and police, as in Mesley, use of stereotype racial distortion, such as an Indian mascot, the under and misrepresentation of certain racial groups in mass media, and race-based barriers to gainful employment and professional advancement. Additionally, differential access to goods, services, and opportunities of society can be included within the terms of institutionalized racism, such as unpaved streets, roads, inferior socioeconomic disadvantages, and we'll see all that in our hoods, in our community. Why is it we can't bring up our neighborhood? You know, and if we travel back in time and we look at what happened prior to integration, and even go back a little further back and take a look at Rosewood and all these black cities that we had, were we killing each other?
No, not like that. Not like that.
Back then, like we are today?
No.
And if that's a fact, then what part must play to be the solution? And to separate does not mean hate.
That's
we
right.
got to be clear and understand.
Come on, teach.
To separate does not mean hate. To separate means to bring together a group of people to identify and love each other, to want to build with each other, to want to become one, so that we can have the economic power that everybody else gets.
That's right. That's right.
You know, so let's be clear that one of the things that we have to do when we talk about black love within the family, black love for our people, is also understand that in order to achieve the change that we want, we got to pool our resources.
Mm-hmm.
We got to become people of business.
That's right.
Not always want to work
For some.
this white supremacist group, but begin to want to do something for ourselves. Right. That is the only way we're going to bring a change to the condition of our people. You know, and I talked about this psychological warfare that's going on, and I was trained in that field. Yes, sir. You know, and it didn't dawn on me until I really began to walk this path with Oscar. You know, because I can remember when my son, about 10 years ago, when my son said, "Dad, I want to go teach in the hood. I want to go teach in Chicago." Like, well, you don't know nothing about Chicago. That hood is going to be rough. You don't go there and teach. You hear me talking? That's whiteness in me. That's the white. Where's our help needed?
In the
in
hood.
Our black community.
That's right.
In the hoods of Chicago, in the hoods of Oakland, in the hoods of Richmond, in the hoods of New York. But you know what I told him? Why you want to do something like that? That didn't make no kind of sense. Well, you went to school to get an education to make some money.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Why would you want to teach like that? Dude, we cannot let it come to our front door to wake up. It can come to our front door when we wake up, but then it's late. Right, and then you have to go basically through what I've been going through, which is called on-the-job training. On-the-job but understanding. Because I didn't expect, God put me on this path. This wasn't the path that I chose. Though I have to look back in time to realize that He's preparing you for something. He had prepared me for this all my life, and I didn't even know it. I've been at San Francisco State in the first black study program over there studying us. You know, I've been in the military in the 70s when race relation issues took place. First day in basic training, a white boy stabs a brother, and they say it's going down. Race relation classes and all that. I even been in college in Seattle wanting to become a representative of our people as leaders. Wrote a paper in specifically about that and been told, and then was told, the United States is not, right, that's right. The United States is not about color. You're in the United States military, you represent the United States. Blackball.
Of course.
I wanted to represent brothers. Too many of us died on the front line. Just to give some numbers, if you don't know, during the Vietnam War, 58,000 men were killed. 38,000 were black. That was by design. You know, and so I say all that to say, the psychological aspect that I'm going to read, you know, has to do with us coming to understand how to deal with white supremacy. And it's just a definition I'm sharing. We are in a psychological warfare. Psychological manipulation is a type of social influence that aims to change the perception or behavior of others through underhanded, deceptive, and even abusive tactics. By advancing the interests of the manipulator, white supremacy, often at the other's expense, people of color, such methods could be considered exploitative, abusive, devious, and deceptive.
Okay.
Social influence is generally perceived to be harmless when it respects the right of the influence us to accept or reject it. It's camouflage and is not unduly coercive. Depending on the context and motivation, social influence may constitute underhanded manipulation. You know, these are just some simple definitions that when we come to really understand it and look at it, we come to realize the danger in it. I can remember in the 70s, right here in Oakland, right off of 105th, the boxcar pulled up in the neighborhood. The train doors are open. And what's in there is Uzis. I'm talking about automatic weapons. And you 16, 17 years old, what you gonna do? Oh, you're gonna grab one. You're gonna grab a case. You're gonna take it to the hood. You're gonna tell your partner, right, you got some guns to sell. I mean, this was all by design. And we got all this killing going on right now because we got weapons in our neighborhood. I can remember when a boxcar pulled up and all the Hennessy you wanted. I'm talking about all the alcohol you wanted. This is real talk.
Yes, sir.
I've seen this. Put my hands on it. Part of the reason why this neighborhood is contaminated.
Yes, sir.
All by design.
Come on now.
And until we feel that pain, it pisses me off. Because what's happening in our community right now? We're killing each other. I believe it was the minister that said, yeah, we got to get doped up, drunk up, before we take that weapon that the white man gave us to go kill my brother. That's real. That's what's happening in our community. And until we come to the knowledge of this deception that's happening in this community of ours, what's happening to our people, we're in a state of emergency.
That's right.
You sure are.
Yes, sir.
What happened to Oscar changed my life. But I'm clear today that it's the community by coming together can bring about the change. Because we're just one family that the community stood with. And yeah, it's shameful that that same night Oscar was murdered. Another brother named Adolph Bryan was murdered in New Orleans. Shot 14 times in the back. Same night. Another brother, Toby Grimes, was shot in the back, just like Oscar, laying flat on his back with his hands behind his back, and the officer shoots him in the back. All because he wanted to protect his mother. Officer threw his mother up against the garage door. He's already down. He's like, oh, hey, you know, any young man, fearless, gonna stand up. And he went to stand up now, shot him in his back. And thank God he did. I mean, but these are just the unknown names that we know in our community that have died.
Yes.
That no one knows about until the white media decided to bring it out. You know, I can just say over and over to you, thank you, because these are teachings, you know, and of course, we always want more and more people to be here, but I always say, I don't care how many people's here, if we could just touch one.
That's right.
There's been progress.
Right.
You know, we are in a war.
That's right. Don't get it
This war is
twisted.
happening right now in our face. And we have to realize the significance of the importance that it is for us to begin to get involved. Because that is the only way we're going to bring a change in our community. I thank all of you that are here. And I pray that we all go out and share this passion with those that don't know or those that do know, but encourage them to become a part of. Because a change is going to come. And it's our hope that we don't have to destroy this whole place to make it come, but it may
Okay,
come to that.
make up to
It
that.
may come to that. Because sad as it is, I've been looking at riots all across the United States, just in the time as a study. Mesley may have never gotten arrested had Oakland not looked like it was going to get burned down.
You believe that?
In fact, the video cameras was good. The community outrage was good. But it wasn't until stuff started burning that they really began to pay attention. So what is America asking us to do? In 1980, 3 riots in Florida, all stemmed behind police shooting, and their cities caught on fire.
That's right.
The good note, the officer was arrested. The sad note, they
Nothing
all got
happened.
off.
That's right.
Justifiable killing.
That's right.
You know, and so,
It's because they put out the fire.
right, they put out the fire. You know, so we just got to remember that what's happening in the Trayvon case, and before I even dissect that quickly, I'm just going to share the similarities because it's so powerful. It was real eerie to me. Oscar and his friends were detained because they looked as suspicious. Not because Tony Peroni knew who they were. They just looked as suspicious. Trayvon, as you know, was looking suspicious. Oscar and his friends were wearing black t-shirts and hoodies. As you know, Trayvon was wearing a hoodie. Oscar was on the phone talking to his girlfriend before he was brutally murdered. As we know, Trayvon was on the phone talking to his girlfriend before he was brutally murdered. As we know, Oscar took a picture of Johannes Mesley with his taser in his hand, proving to the world that that man knew where his taser was at. He pulled it out twice. He had pictures of it. As we know, Trayvon, not his phone, but another phone, happened to catch his voice screaming before he was murdered. You know, this technology that we have is just showing the evidence of the wrong that we're experiencing. As you know, Oscar was called B-A-N. I'm not going to be vulgar with the words, but racial epithets. As well as we know, Trayvon received racial epithets.
Trying to say it was punks, huh?
That's right. Now they're trying to change the word to punks, just like Tony Peroni tried to say. I would never say nothing like that.
It did till they played the
And
video.
until the witness, one of the witnesses, it was so funny, one of the witnesses, young man, Jabril, I think his name was,
Jamal?
said, they tried to make him say the word. And when he said that, he said, he didn't say nigger, he said nigger. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to show you how this system will try to change what we hear or what we see to be more apt to what they want us to believe. Chief G of course, Bart Police Department, as you know, resigns. Chief Lee of the Stanford Police Department steps to the side because he knows what's coming.
That's right.
District Attorney Head Tom Orloff of Alameda County decides to take an early retirement. As we know, District Attorney Wolfinger there in Florida, Seminole County, DA head decides to step to the side because they want to say it might be a distraction in the case for whatever reason. And I mean, I could go on. I've put down so many similarities. I could go on with the similarities. But the reason why, you know, and I think Jack asked that question, why is it that they don't share or show Oscar with Trayvon so we can make the connection? Because when we begin to study and analyze similar incidents, especially in that regards, that heinous, we begin to understand and be able to better dissect the psychology that's being perpetrated on us. And begin to be able to shape our method of movement to bring about the change that we need. So it is our responsibility to go back in time and know who we are,
That's right.
where we come from. The Holocaust, you know, like the minister going around the country would ask these students, how many of you know about the Jewish Holocaust? Everybody raised their hand. How many of you know about
Your
the
Holocaust.
Holocaust of us coming across the Atlantic to the United States? How many of us jumped off that boat? How many of us died on that boat? How many of us got here and fought for our freedom? How many of us here just died at the hands of a white man with an audience there, just like minister talking about pictures, just being hung and burned? I mean, this is real. And then until we dissect our past, analyze each of those situations, we can better formulate how we're going to take our next step. Because what it's coming down to is going to be a guerrilla warfare that we're not prepared to win.
Not in the
We're not
condition we're in.
prepared to win a guerrilla warfare. But if we understand the war that we're getting ready to go into, I'm sure we're going to come out on the other side better off.
That's right.
You know, this pain in this movie, to see another mother teary-eyed cry hurts me because I think about my sister. Every time I take myself there, I hate to go there. Now, I don't hate to go there because I need to go there because I need to feel this. But it's painful to see a mother crying from losing her child, from losing her son. It's real painful. Because I love my nephew, Oscar. He was like a son to me. And it's just my hope that we don't allow ourselves to continue to become so callous that when I see a brother out there on the street get shot, I just keep on going about
Come
my
on.
business.
That's right.
That's how we've been.
Got to break
You
it
know,
up.
Another brother gets shot. Instead of us saying, you know, that brother over there did it, we too worried about being a snitch. Until we come out of that fear and begin to take charge of our community, our love for our people, we're staying in this cycle. The United States has the biggest prison institution in the world. 2.4 million of us are locked up, mostly black and brown men. I mean, the biggest prison institution in the world. From 1976 just to 2000, and I'm not quite sure what the stats are from 2000 to 2012, but I can probably triple it now. But from 76 to 2000, it was 10,579 black and brown men killed by police officers. At that time, there were 6 police officers brought to trial, 1 found guilty, and that was the officer that killed Malice Green, and he got off, all because the jury happened to be in Detroit, happened to get to see why they were sequestered, not sequestered, but why they was in the jury room. Actually, they were sequestered, but while they were in there, I mean, bored to death, they got to see a movie. They get to watch Malcolm X. Because they get to watch Malcolm X, when they come back with their guilty verdict, they appeal it because they were tainted by the fact that they watched Malcolm X.
And he got off.
And they overturned it.
Rodney King was in the movie. Rodney King's beating was in the movie.
And right, that's right. Rodney King's beating was in the movie. So that taints how we feel. And so therefore
Right.
we go
The
automatically
truth
find right
taints
off
everything.
guilty. You know, and this stuff is just so real. You know, I can go on and on and on, but I'm not. I'm gonna stop. You know, I just want to thank everybody that's here, heard my voice today, understand the pain and the war that we're in, you know, the passion that the minister has about bringing this change in our community. And part of the reason today, where I realize today, the war I'm gonna fight, I'm in my battle uniform right now. That's right. You know, I'm processing because I believe that it's going to be us that are suited, that's going to go out here and lead this battle. It's going to represent the soldiers of our community.
Yes,
It's
sir.
going to bring about a change.
Yes, sir.
You know, and all we can do is lead. All we can do is share the information. And all we can do is exhibit our passion to bring about this change. You know, and I thank you, sister. I love you. I'm glad you're here. I hope you get something out of this. And I hope you become that leader that you are. You are a leader.
All right.
Representing us. You're going to save our babies.
That's right.
You're going to save our babies. And those that you share are going to join you to save our babies because we are in a war. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One of the reasons why I really wanted you to come up here is because out of all the stuff that's been going on, you've actually stood there and seen it firsthand. You know, I don't want nobody to tell